So, okay. Right. So let us start. So this is Bhakti Yoga, Chapter 12, Devotional Service. Okay. Let us pay obeisance to Sri Radha Govinda. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnanakushalakaya Chakshurmetam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manabhishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vittam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakana Vittamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dino Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Mancha Kalpatrabhyascha Kripa Sindhu Aveyevacha Patitam Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatdeshatarine Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So let us start. So what did we do yesterday? We were looking at the Virat Rupa, the Vishwarupa of the Lord Krishna. So because Arjuna requests Krishna to show his universal form, it's a jump to see that, how he is pervading in this cosmic manifestation universe. So he describes his universal form, and then we see all the emotions which Arjuna is undergoing. First is understruck and is Adbhuta, and he sees the Aneka Bhuta, that means the Lord with thousands of arms and bellies, and all he could see, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Brahma, Shiva, all Devatas and their things, and all the 14 planets, everything. And he could also smell, and he could see it was blazing effulgence of the Lord, and he could feel the heat, and he could also see other devatas being sick. So this was he was given a divine vision to eyes to see this Virat form. Okay, then he describes his experience, and finally when he sees the Kala Rupa, like when all the soldiers, Bhishma, Dev, Karna, and all the sons of Dhritarashtra entering into the mouth of the Lord, and fire coming, and that Kala Rupa, when he sees, he gets disturbed and says, who are you? What is your mission? Then Krishna says, I am Kalosmi, locusting, I create, and now my plan is to destroy. As a death, he comes to everyone. So he's a Kalosmi. And all of them are going to die, except you people and the Pandavas. So he says everyone. And you be just a Nimitta Matam, just an instrument in my play, in my plan. Then Arjuna, then he gives a beautiful praise, and he's thinking, I have been taking so much liberty with the Lord. And then he says, if I have done any mistakes or anything, pardon me. And then Krishna says, all this form nobody has seen, only you have seen, and now even the Devatas are able to see. And finally he asks Krishna to show him the Shyam-Sundar form, the 400 Narayana form, and then the Shyam. So, and then Krishna says, only by Bhakti anyone can see me this, otherwise nothing else. So Bhakti. So we are in that Bhakti section, Bhakti Yoga section. So it's all about devotional service. Okay. Yesterday, we had a question. It's a frequently asked question, of course. Why is Krishna talking about himself? Or rather, what is the benefit of knowing Krishna? So we saw this in chapter 4 when Arjuna asked him, you're telling about the history and you're telling this was shown, you are told the sun god, but it was the thing. Then Krishna has told that I know all the past, future, and the present, but you don't remember the past. So then he had to talk about his divinity. There we saw that what is the benefit of when he talks about himself, he says why he comes and what incarnations he takes and all. He says, Janma karma cha me divyam evam cho veti tatvata tektva deham punar janma naiti mam eti sajana. I just thought I wanted you all to recollect this verse. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal. So, this is the reason, is the thing. But if we understand his transcendental nature of his incarnations, all that, then we may not take the birth again. He says, and they come to my abode. So, in this connection, there was, I would like to recite a story because we had in this yesterday's on our Bhagavatam class, we were going through this first canto, chapter 3, verse 28, where Sutta Goswami tells that all this appearance and disappearance of the Lord incarnations, why he comes and what are the Lila avatars, Guna avatars and all that, when he was explaining, he was telling it is Divyam. And in that connection, he narrated a story, the Prabhuji. He said, in Guruvayur, yesterday someone was said, in Kerala, we have Lord Krishna's temple, Guruvayur. In that, there was one devotee named Melpatur Narayana Bhattatri. What he had done, he saw his guru was suffering from arthritis. So much, then he couldn't bear it. He thought, he praised to the Lord, please give me that disease because I can't see my guru suffering. At least I'm young, I'll be able to bear it. So when he sincerely prays to the Lord, he gets the disease and his guru becomes okay. Okay. But after some time, he finds the pain is so unbearable and nothing could be removed. Whatever thing I read, whatever medications he was trying, it was not improving. Pain was becoming intolerable. Then he didn't know what to do. That time he meets one other devotee, Ramanuja. Yeah. And he says, you start with fish. Other devotees are wondering why he should eat fish now. But this Bhattatri, Narayana Bhattatri understood what it is. So he goes to Guruvayur temple and starts reciting this Narayana. He composes 1034 verses, it is actually summarizing Bhagavad Purana. Okay. This is in the year 1586 at the age of 20. So every day he will start with one the other incarnations. He will recite the what Mataji? Hare Krishna. Only the little bit more I'll just tell, because once he starts composing, every day he will be meditating on one of the incarnations and kept on focusing, meditating on the Lord on that incarnation. So by 100th day, by finishing that Dashatkam, all his ailments go away. So this is what it have. It's a divyam. This reading is knowing about Krishna is Janma Karma Charma Divyam. Okay. So this is the right example. It's not an example given 5,000 years ago, but it happened just about 500 years ago. Okay. And he was at age, and he lived till the age of 96. So this Narayanam is not normally read, but I don't know much of the verses, but it says that I see when he was focusing on the Lord about the incarnations, and he went on reciting, and that's how he got cured. So this is the benefit of knowing Krishna. And that is why he is talking about it and about the devotional service. And then he says, continues to say that Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha, one who is free from attachment. See, this keeps on coming. Attachment, fear, and anger, they will be absorbed in me. Ones who take refuge in me, they have in the past, I have purified by knowledge of me. So this is the reason why he's talking about Bhakti and about himself. Okay. And this is the benefit we get by listening. All right. So now we come to this chapter 12. It has got 4 sections. And this is the end of the Bhakti Yoga section. Then now, after seeing the Virat Rupa, the Arjuna has a question. What is he says? Now he is perplexed. He saw that entire thing, powerful, the power thing and all that, glowing, huge Virat Rupa and all that. He is thinking, but he likes only the personal form, one that one. He says, is that form personal or I should meditate on this impersonal? Which one is better? Okay, then Krishna talks about the supremacy of Krishna Bhakti. How he is very definite. He is very clear-cut answers. He doesn't duplicate this or that if you like this. And then he talks about progressive stages of Bhakti. Here we can see how merciful he is. And then completes it by telling the qualities of the pure devotees. How that is very dear to Lord Krishna. So, Arjuna Uvacha Evam Satata Yukta Ye Bhakta Swam Paryupasate Ye Chapi Aksharam Avyaktam Tesham Ke Yoga Vittamaha. Arjuna inquired, which is considered to be more perfect? Those who are properly engaged in your devotional service or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested. So either there are people who meditate on when you ask them whom are meditating, they say some light or some form or anything. But there are some people who meditate on the Brahma Jyoti or the Virat Rupa. So, but he likes the personal form of the Lord. So he is asking him which is better. Okay. Which Rupa is best. So why is he asking? Because he is very much attached to that personal form and he wants to clarify. Okay, from the Lord itself. The blessed Lord said, he whose mind is fixed on my personal form, always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith, is considered by me to be most perfect. Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Avesha Manoyama Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Paryapatas Tema Teme Yuktatma Mataha. So that is the most perfect. What is? Nitya Yukta Upasati. That is, you fix on my personal form, always engaged in worshipping me with great. So this is the thing we need to do and not the other things. So he's very emphatic. He's not very, first itself he'll tell you the answer correctly. This is the thing. And then he will tell why the other thing is not perfect. Okay. So here we need to understand this. There is a difference between idol worship and deity worship. Anyone can say? So idol worship is something like we have a lot of, say like we have so many statues of politicians like Mahatma Gandhi statue, of course, will be there in every city and all that, right? So during the year, nobody bothers, only except on October 1st, some municipalities will come, clean the statue, put the specs and then garland and everything. And the next day, October 2nd, they come and they pay obeisance. Then after that, in the evening, they'll forget. Okay. And everything there, it will be to the crows and others, birds and things to come and sit on it. Or I think they don't bother. So that is the idol worship. Okay. So whereas for deity worship, we take the form of the Lord and we, with there's a vidana, there's a thing, prana pratishtapi we do, and we invite the Lord to come and reside in the deity. So that's how we have the deities are there in the temples, for deity worship. And it is not just a thing like a politician's thing who do it once in a while or something. Okay. So, and deity worship is something like, you can compare it to Prabhupada says in the purport, It's like the mailbox. See, if you have a red mailbox, there only you will go and put your letters. Then you know for sure that your letters will go and reach the destination. But you can't just put your letters in some box which is painted red, isn't it? It has to have, should be authorized. Same way the deity worship is like that. It should be authorized. It should have some vidhana where it has the thing. Then Krishna will come and reside there. That is Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Okay, he is there. So that is what we mean by deity worship. You should have some form, otherwise it's difficult for us to meditate, to worship. So it is, even these things will help us. Now he says, but those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception. Unmanifested is there everywhere in this form, that form. So unmanifested, the all-pervading, inconceivable, fixed and immovable. So this impersonal conception of the absolute truth, by controlling the various senses and by equally disposed to everyone, such persons engaged in the welfare of all at last achieve. So they do with great endeavor. They have to practice a lot of yoga, and because they have to control the senses, they have to stop their mind for things. That the goal is not to become thing, but they want to do all that, and then with strictly discipline thing, they will try to engage in this welfare, and finally they'll reach. It's not that they don't, they will come. But what happens? What does it involve? Klesho adhikarastha tesham avyakta shakta chetasam. Avyakta hi gati dukkham deha vadvir avyakta. So those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome, because it's not that easy. And to make progress in that discipline is always difficult, klesho, for those who are embodied. So that is a difficult path, advancing in the spirit, and there is always a risk that you might fall down. Okay, and why? Because it depends on our own endeavor. We have to put in a lot of effort to control the senses, control our mind, and practice certain yogic things, and then slowly, you will be trying to meditate on the operating form. But now he says, Eto sarvani karmani mahi sannyasa mat paraha anyanyaiva yogena mam dhyante upasate tesham aham samudatta mrityu samsara sagara. That is death, birth cycle. Bhavami na chirat partha maya avisha chas. What does he mean? For one who worships me, giving up all his activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, always meditating on me, who has fixed his mind upon O Son of Mother. For him, I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. See, you can't just, you might know swimming and all that, but to swim in the ocean is very difficult, isn't it? So, if we can, that's why he says, if you are a true devotee, he will come and lift you from the, relieve you from the ocean of birth and death. So here he clearly spells it out, that who worships me, giving up activities, devoted to me without deviation. And always meditating is, I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. So he tells, first he tells you, meditate or worship him in the personal form, and then he tells you the prayojana. If you do it, what happens, what is a benefit? He will come and relieve you from this cycle of birth and death. So he will take charge. He will help you. Okay. So, Maya eva manasa addasvam. So now now what is he going to do? He is going to give us the progressive steps of devotion. Okay. The steps how to go in this bhakti marga. Maya eva manadastro mayi buddhim niveshaya nivashyasti maya eva atha urdhvam na sakshya. Just fix your mind upon me. That means you have to fix your mind. You have to control. You know how mind is so chanchala, no? So he says, try to fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without a doubt. Okay. This is the topmost level where the pure devotee will be Ananya Bhakti. That is, both his mind, intelligence, everything is engaged in him. And he says he is always living in me. And here whom we see, all the coward boys, when they come, when they were in the Leela Vrindavan. See, all when Lord appears in the world, okay, all his associates also will come to take part in this pastime, okay. And these cowboys, they have been pure devotees, and they had the sages and all earlier birth, and they have been in pure bhakti. So they come here as the coward boys to play with the Lord. Okay. So when actually this was mesmerizing, like Brahma couldn't understand how is this little boy Supreme Personality of God. And look at him, he's playing like a small child with all his friends, eating together and snatching their food and things so much with his friends. So they couldn't, Brahma himself was surprised and he couldn't understand, And there's a big Leela, how he tries to take away the cowboys. And then Krishna expands into every cowboy because he can't go back home without his friends and the cows and all that, right? So he expands into each one's family and he goes. It's a big pastime there. So this is Ananya Bhakti, okay? That is the topmost devotional service. And it is safest and surest because it has no side effects. Okay, now you can't do that, fine. So, my dear Jana, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulated principles of Bhakti Yoga, that is under the guidance of a spiritual master. In this way, you will develop a desire to attain. So he knows it's the people can't fix because their mind is chanchala and there's always says, why do this? Why can I do that? Or this is difficult for me, and that is the. And so he says, okay, you cannot do that. Okay, the topmost level. At least you do sadhana bhakti. That is regulated principles that of Bhakti Yoga. You take to the master, the spiritual master, and try to follow the whatever that in whatever the master says. Just follow those principles like chanting and all that, and do that sadhana. So under the guidance of an acharya. So you do that. So just that we said, no, they take up to get up early in the morning, do Mangalacharana, attend that, and then do in the Brahma Muhurta chanting and all that. So whatever your acharya says, you follow the principles, and that is nothing. Okay, that is Athaji, right? Then practice and take up something which you can do, not that it is thing which is feasible for you. Start off with that, and slowly, you will get, once you've practiced quite a thing, you will start seeing the benefit, and then you'll accept the acharya and then take it in a serious way. So you can start off with something which is feasible for you, right? Now, what does he say in this verse? If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me. Because by working for me, you will come to the perfect state. So he says, okay, if you can't do that, at least you try to help the devotees who are in this Krishna consciousness movement. Because they might try to something in the temple seva or some sacrifice or resources for the Krishna consciousness movement and things. So whole day you can't do the thing, at least do this much. So he says, Abhyasa pi asamatto. That means you cannot practice the regulation. So he understands it's not that easy because you are distracted by this and you have been attached to your body and you're thinking this is the world and nothing else. So to take to the accept acharya and do his thing might be difficult. So he says, okay, if you cannot do that, at least practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga. So this is how is merciful. He doesn't say this is the path and that's the only thing. No, he is giving you all the alternatives so that you can be in this spiritual path. Okay, and come to the thing. So this is an option to work for Krishna. Nishkama Karma Yoga. Now, Ahatidapi asakto asi kartum mad yogam ashritaha sarva karma palatyagam tata kuru yat. If, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness, then try to act, giving up all the results of your work and try to be self-situated. At least you start giving up something. So this is sakama karma. At least you give part of your results. If you can't do anything, at least you do something. Give up some results, okay? Try to be self-possession. So here you might, in this, it goes even one step, saying that if you can't do that, at least you give some of your results. Sarva karma palatyagam. Have some resources, sacrifice for welfare of public also, and giving charity. If you can't give it to the Krishna conscience, okay, fine. You can give it to the some welfare, like, to the hospitals or do some charity. So do earn some punya, at least be in the mode of goodness. Okay. This is the fourth one. It will give you punya karma. Okay. So we have come to the material world. So, but we have to go back to the spiritual platform. So we have to be absorbed in it. But okay, you can't do all those practices. At least do some charity. This is mostly because they can't believe in this science. And there is no, but one thing is, in this stage 4, there is no guarantee that you will go back to the Goloka. Okay. But at least it's better than not doing anything, isn't it? At least you'll be in the practice of giving something, right? And giving up the results of your work. So at least you'll be try to be self-situated. So it gives results to a good cause, right? Okay, if you don't want to do that, again, he says giving up the results. Again, now he says, if you cannot take to this practice, see what? First he said, you can't do Ananya Bhakti, fix your mind and intelligence into it, right? Then he said, okay, you can't do that. At least you do take shelter of an Acharya, and whatever regulation, disciplines and things he is telling you, you follow that. Under those things, you start doing your spiritual practices. Then he says, okay, you don't like anybody ordering you or some regulations or any restrictions into your life. Okay, cannot do that. At least give some of your results to the temple or to the people who are working in devotees in the Krishna consciousness. Okay. Then, okay, you can't do that. Okay, don't want to give, at least give some to the charity, to the welfare of the people. So it comes to the 4th level. See, the 1, 2, 3, you are still in the thing. There is a possibility of going to higher level. But when you come to this is at the 4th level. That is charity thing. Okay, for welfare of others or Madhava Seva, whatever you call. Now you can't do that also. Now he is telling this. That is the 5th step. If you cannot take to this practice, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. Okay. That is reading scriptures and trying to know the knowledge. Better than knowledge, our is, of course, meditation. That is meditate on the Lord. Or better than meditation is renunciation. Finally, it's renunciation of the fruits of action. Because by such renunciation, one can attain peace of mind. So there he gives us, telling us to take up to jnana, dhyana. So these are the other processes he tells. Okay, at least you will come slowly up. So these are the stages of bhakti. So first is Ananya Bhakti. If you can't do that, do Bhakti Sadhana Bhakti under the guidance of an Acharya. If you cannot do that, then all those disciplines you don't like, restrict yourself, then do Nishkama Karma Yoga. If you can't do that, do Sakama Karma Yoga. And then if you can't do that, at least take to the knowledge. Okay. Any questions on this? Because this is how he is very merciful. He understands because people are so much under the Maya. We are always serving Maya, right? Then for us to turn towards the Lord, it takes time because you have to come out of this attachment to this body concept and we have this fear and that thing. So now he understands. So he's telling you explicitly the stages of bhakti. So, okay, you'll get punya, but you won't get bhakti, by doing the charity. Now he is going to tell us about the qualities of the devotees which are attractive to him. Okay, this is Sanatana Goswami. Hare Krishna, yes, Sanjay.
Shri Krishna Mataji, earlier you said Manav Seva is more not as important as Madhav Seva, but here in 12.11 you are saying that you can do some charitable work is as good as doing Madhav
Krishna
Seva.
says. Krishna says you can, at least you'll be in the habit of giving something. Right? Okay, but it's in the 4th level, Prabhuji. It's not in the top level. Okay,
yeah, but
it's not.
It's contradictory, no? Isn't it? Earlier it was saying not you should only do Madhav.
Even it's not contradictory because you give to a good cause. He says, okay, at least you are in the habit of giving up your results, not keeping to yourself everything. Okay, be charitable. But if you give it to the Krishna thing, then it is much better. At least you work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. Okay. But in that stage where you're giving to the other, this is Madhav Seva. Okay, this is a work for Krishna is Madhav Seva, right? The other one is you're in the lower level. Okay, you can't do that. At least do this for your punya. But this won't give you bhakti, because this is only for your thing. Doing this Manav Seva is just for your good. At least you'll be in the habit of giving. Okay, at least you'll be in that. You'll get some punya instead of not doing anything. So that is there. But it is not going to give you devotional, bhakti. So for stages of bhakti is what he is talking now. Okay, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Is it clear?
Okay.
Thank here you. He's giving you how the mentalities are there, of the people, of the living entities. He spells it out. He doesn't say that this is the path. He says, I can understand you're all so conditioned in this material world. This is how the stages of bhakti. So topmost he told you. Then he told about how you can practice sadhana bhakti by taking shelter of an acharya or a pure devotee. And then if you can't do that, then do nishkama karma yoga. So there at least you will come to perfect stage. Okay. But if you can't do that, but there are people who don't believe in God and things. They would like to only serve the people, philanthropic work and all. At least you keep giving instead of being selfish.
Okay. Thank you.
Self-centered. Okay.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Prabhuji. So that's why I find he's not telling you ideal. He's giving you what all people are there. Then he says, okay, you can't do, at least cultivate knowledge, then meditate. If not, you'll get some peace. At least if you renounce the fruit of your action, you'll get some peace. You can attain peace of mind. So that these are the other processes. Okay. But these all will take you many, many births to come to the stage of bhakti. Bhakti is something, those first 2-3 stages. Okay. And now he's telling about the qualities of the devotees which are there. This is Sanatana Goswami. I don't know if I've told you about him. He was, if you all heard about him before, Hare Krishna. Sanatana Goswamis. They are master of their senses. Goswami means master of their senses. Here, he was earlier working, he was actually a minister under the Muslim emperor, okay, in Bengal. And at one time they meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the village of Ramakeli. That time they realize, when they see him and they go to meet him, they have heard a lot about Chaitanya Prabhu and they not met him. Once they meet him, they just surrender to him. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, give up all this and become my devotees. So they give up their ministership. They were actually very learned in Sanskrit and so many languages, even Persian language, Arabic language, everything they were very able administrators, okay. And Muslim people and the emperors were liking him. Actually, they had taken the name of Muslim. I think he was known as Sabaka Daba Savita. I mean, I've forgotten the name, but he had the name of a Muslim. In fact, because of that, they were working for the Muslim. They were ostracized by their community, Brahmana community. Okay, but they were earning out of it. But after meeting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they gave up all their things, whatever the charity, whatever they had, they gave up everything and then just followed Chaitanya Prabhu, and he asked them to be in Vrindavan and to write on Bhakti, because devotional service, because we say you pray to God, have Bhakti, but what is Bhakti, how it is, and that you have to write, explain. No? So they wrote books on that. His book, Sanat Goswami's book is that very nice book, is on Nectar of Instruction, where he says how if you can control your urge, there are 6 urges, if you can control the urge of speech, urge of mind, urge of anger, urge of your belly, urge of your genitals and things. If you can control all these urges, you can be a spiritual master. And it's a beautiful instructions, very nice. So now such a friend, he says, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, because they know that the Lord is the proprietor and the enjoyer and everything. Okay. So the one who doesn't think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego. Okay. So he is free from false ego, and that is this attitude to himself, and was equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant and is always satisfied, and he is tolerant of others. They won't disturb others, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me. Such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. So these are the qualities of a pure devotee. How? He knows he's just a servant of the Lord, and he's not a proprietor, and he's not an enjoyer, and his only work is to serve the Lord. And he's free from false ego, and whether it's happiness or distress, he's equivalent, and he's tolerant and satisfied with whatever he gets, self-controlled, and is all the time doing devotional service for the Lord and dealing. So such a devotee is very dear to me. And they gave up everything, riches and all they had, and they were just living in Vrindavan under each day one tree. Their thing was to write on whatever the instructions Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave, and to spread this Krishna consciousness movement. Okay, so that's all they did. And here we have an example of Chitraketu. I don't know if I told you about Chitraketu. He for whom no one is put into difficulty, who is not disturbed by anxiety, and who is steady in happiness and distress, is very dear to him. So Chitraketu, once when he saw Lord Shiva giving a class on Bhagavatam, but Devi Parvati was on his lap. So when he's seeing and he's going on the airship, he just laughs, and because of this scene, you think, well, there all the rishis are not perturbed. But Shiva knew what it is, and he just smiled. But Parvati was very upset. She said, how can he comment on Lord Shiva? So then she curses him to be a demon, Vritrashura. But he wouldn't, even the minute he hears the curse from the goddess, he comes down and says, whatever you have given me, I accept, but only give me one benediction, that even as a demon, even if I'm born as a demon, I should be all the time in remembrance of the Lord. So and it's a very nice. He will be in Vritrashura. He'll be take birth among the demons, and there's a big fight between him and Indra. It's a big pastime, and how Indra couldn't defeat him. That's when he makes this Vajrayuda and all that. And then Vritrashura will swallow up the Indra, and then he sits in the meditation on the Lord. He knows that Indra will has the Vajrayuda and he will kill him, but he was not perturbed. So he accepts whatever curse the Lord Goddess Parvati gave, and he is steady in both. He says, whatever the Lord has given me, I'll accept. So he was not disturbed. Okay, and then it's a nice thing in Bhagavatam. So this duality, and this person is Bilmangala thing. a devotee who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure, expert, without case, free from all pains, and who does not strive for some result. Actually, he was, earlier days, he was very much enamored by a Bilmangala Thakur. He was a prostitute. One day when it was raining, stormy night and all that, he finishes up his father's ceremony, and then goes in that stormy night, swims across the river, and then climbs the compound, actually thinking this a rope, but it was a snake, but he didn't realize in the night, and then goes and knocks on the door of the prostitute. The prostitute was so surprised to see him come in this, taking all this effort. So she says, if you had just taken all these pains for the Lord, you surely would have got it. So the minute she said that, he was taken aback. Then he just leaves there, and then he turns towards devotional service. That you might think how a prostitute words could make an effort. She must also have been a pure devotee, and maybe a profession she has taken in this birth like that, but her words changed him. And what he did, he thought if his eyes are there only, he'll be drawn to that. He voluntarily pokes his eyes, and then he will be all the time in remembrance of the Lord. And beautiful kirtans, verses is there. So he is not dependent on ordinary course of life. He is pure, without care, and all the things. So he's not working for some results. He wants to be all the time in thinking of the Lord. Okay, this is Bilvan Thakur. And here we have Prahalad. And what does he think? He is not perturbed by his father's activities, whether in either layman's nor desires. Why is my father doing this to me? He is not bothered. He is all at the time in remembrance of the Lord. And he knows the Lord, without the Lord's plan, nothing can happen to him. He knows it very well. So, one who neither grasps pleasure or grief, or neither laments or desires, renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things, is very dear to me. So, this is the qualities of a thing. And this is Ambarish Maharaj, who was equipoised in honor, dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and fame. Is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything. See, when Durvasa Muni sent a demon to kill him, he was not the thing. He said, whatever you think, I accept. He was not perturbed. He was tolerant and satisfied, who doesn't care for any reason. Though he was a king, he was a true devotee of the Lord. And he was fixed in knowledge, engaged in devotional service. Such a person is very dear to me. And this is Sudama, who he was, when he came to meet Krishna, he just brought that puffed rice, right? But he didn't ask anything. Okay. So he who follows this imperishable path of devotional service, who completely engages himself with faith, making me the supreme goal, is very, very dear to me. Okay. So what is the summary? We have to personally, devotion to Krishna is the supreme. Okay. And then not the impersonal form. Then he said the topmost stage of bhakti is Anyanya Bhakti. If you cannot do that, at least do sadhana bhakti, taking the shelter of an acharya and take the principles, regulative principles, and doing chanting and thing. If you can't do that because you don't like anyone to put restrictions on you, you can take up Nishkama Bhakti, work for Krishna. Krishna's temple or thing, you do Nishkama Bhakti. If you can't do that, do Sakamam, at least do some giving up your results of your resources. Okay, at least you'll be in the habit of giving and not be greedy and self-centered. Then otherwise cultivate knowledge or dhyana. So, but these first three is the one which will take you to the bhakti stage, whereas others you might be only stuck there. Okay, because you have to. So this is the lowest rank. We can introspect ourselves and see where we want to be. Okay, and then he describes the qualities of the devotees, how the attitude to answer, because they are not the proprietor, and they are the servant of the Lord, and they are free from false ego, and they deal with others. They are not tolerant, and they don't disturb others, and their reaction to it, even in their happiness or suffering, they are equipoised, and their reaction to it, and they don't lament or desire, and they're satisfied with whatever the Lord gives, and they're all the time in worshipping the Lord. So this is the and these are qualities. And they Prabhupada writes in the purport saying, once you are in the bhakti, once you are in the doing this, once you're doing the Krishna Course, once you are in the process of bhakti, all these qualities will slowly develop in the devotees. Okay, you don't have to put some effort, lot of effort here, because once you're in the bhakti state, once you're in the spiritual path, you can. So we can cultivate this by being in Krishna consciousness. That's what we learn here. Okay. Anything else I must learn? So spiritual path is not all or nothing, but you can begin your journey according to what is feasible and realistic for you. Okay. You have to be faithful. That's all. Because he says, no, you have to be faithful in your service. And the path explained here is by association with the devotees, we get attached to the devotional service. Then we accept this bona fide spiritual master and adopt the sadhana, that is hearing, chanting, practicing regular things. And thus begin the transcendental journey towards the Supreme Lord. So you can start off with that, with what is realistic for you, and you can understand what stage you want to do, and slowly you can progress towards the Lord. So we have Shravan Navabdi, engage yourself in Navavidhi Bhakti, that is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Archanam, Pada Sevanam, Vandanam, Dashyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. Okay. But these three you can focus on. Shravanam, Kirtanam, and Smaranam for the beginning stage. Okay. So with this, we'll close. What is there in chat? Gods and demigods. Devatas are all administrative people, administrators to the Lord. See, he can't be in everything. He has to control so many things, right? So devatas are there for, like the government has got so many ministers, no? And the government has got so many departments. But he doesn't come to person to each department, right? So there are appointed administrators to take care of each department. Same way, there are posts like Brahma is given the post of creating the living, this universe, planets, and take care of the living entities and all that. And then Shiva, then you have other devatas who take care of the sun god, you have the moon god, you have the thing. Devatas are there to take care of their planets and their Varuna and all that. So those are the as the limbs of the Lord to handle this material world creation which he has made. Okay, so devatas are there, and you have Hindus. Yeah, devatas are there in where we do the worship, the thing that is for the neophytes. But once you start going in start inquiring who is the original, who is the thing. Then once you understand this, if we do the worship to the devatas, it's like indirectly we are worshipping Krishna, because these devatas will take the permission of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God, before sanctioning you. Whatever they give you, it's only material benefits, and it is temporary, because once you leave this birth and take another body, then all these benefits will go away. So it is only temporary. But if you focus your worship to the absolute truth, the absolute thing, then you will go to the thing. So I'll just stop staring and we'll take questions. Ancha kalpatra abhyascha kripa sindhu evacha